into about personal finances. So that is how to manage your finances, because to get the most out of the money that you make. My slogan has been it's but cap vitem means sees life. So life is meant to be lived by those who want to do something to get something out of it. It's not about being passive in life, but it's about being active to make sure that you get the most out of life. So that's just a brief introduction of what we'll be talking about. So today, the most the topic for today we'll be covering is about the psychology of finances, or the psychology of money, because we need to know just the paper money, but it's all about the behavior that people show with money. So the first and foremost thing I wanted to point out is that maybe we are not all made to be rich, but we all deserve to be, we all deserve financial independence. So financial independence is the ability to live a meaningful life, to live life um, to what you want to do at that moment in time without having to worry about money. So financial independence is when we have reached a state where you have income even when you are away from work. You don't need to actively work to make something into your pocket. So that's when we say we have reached financial independence, or when we have reached a state or a stage where your income, your passive income is able to take care of your needs without having to go to work. That doesn't mean that you have to stop working altogether in life, but what that means is that you are able now to do things that you like and to do things that are meaningful to your life, because we know that most people are living on a day-to-day, from hand to mouth, just to make something to eat for today. But then a meaningful life is a life that you live for a purpose greater than yourself. So when you have achieved financial independence, you have the ability to give to others, to also make a difference into other people's lives. When you have achieved financial independence, you have the ability to quit your workplace when you are not pleased with it, so that you can be able to go away, to go to and you have enough money to take care of you while you look for another job, other than being stuck in a place where happiness is really not there, but you just need the place because you need the money. There are loans, there are debts that needs to be serviced at the end of the month. So then you live for the people that you borrowed from. You end up being a slave of money. But financial independence means that you have enough money to take care of yourself and others around you without having to worry to work hard each and every day. So in short, that's what I mean. So life in general was meant to be lived in a meaningful manner, because we cannot even offer in church until people are manipulated to take out money, because we feel like what we have is just enough to take care of you and it's not enough to be shared with other people. But if we are able to be deliberate with our money, the way we manage our money, we will be able to make most out of the little that we make, because the problem with money, it's never enough, but there is not enough. So how do we match the gap to get to a point where I can be able to take care of myself and other people and still live comfortably even if I'm not rich? So before we look at maybe the sources of poverty, we can also investigate the sources of wealth. We will also investigate the sources of wealth, because we know that there are so many reports that have been published talking about what causes poverty in society, some talking about the big pay gap between the rich and the poor, some talking about global warming, some talking about a lot of things. But truly speaking, the difference between the rich and the poor, or the cause of poverty and the cause of riches, is not something in our external environment, but it is something in our internal environment. It's all about what we do and what we want out of what we have. So, against popular belief, poverty is not something that has been done to you. Wealth is not something that must be given to you. Poverty is a lack of the right knowledge, behaviors, and wealth is nothing more than acquiring and applying knowledge and behaviors. So this is what I want to say this morning. A person's success when it comes to money is not in how much they make, but it's in how they behave when it comes to money. Because money is more psychological than it is about knowledge. It's about the behaviors. No matter what we do with how you behave with money determines how far you will be successful with money. That's the difference between the poor and the and that's the difference between the poor and the rich today. So in short, that's what I wanted to say. Some people have gotten rich. Not let me not say rich. Some people have gotten a lot of money, but because they didn't have the kind of behavior that is for rich people, they lost all of it. If you have ever watched, there is a series that is called I Blew It. In that series, you will find that there are people who won a lot of 3 million, 20 million, 17 million, and within 3 months it was gone. They didn't have any of it. There are people who ran businesses in a good way, but something happened and they lost all they had and they were able to rebuild. Actually, they lost everything they had. They were in debts, but they were able to rebuild an empire and have more money again. Because what determines how much money you have, it's not about what you're making in, but it's about how you behave with what you are making in. So that's what I wanted to highlight shortly. So personal finance is not about the study of finances per se, but it's about the study of behaviors with money. Because if it was about the study of finances, bankers will be at the forefront when it comes to first personal finance. Bankers or those with the financial institutions will be the most successful ones, because those ones, they know to calculate every cent and to track it from the start until the beginning, how money was spent, how budgeting and everything. But then they are not, because it's not about the knowledge of the money, it's about the behaviors related to money. So it's important to know that as human beings, we have some kind of weaknesses in our thinking, or I can call them weaknesses, or what I can call biases in our brains. Because our brain is such a wonderful tool, but it also has a lot of weaknesses, because the way it was made, it doesn't like to work a lot, it likes to relax. So understanding the weaknesses of your mind will help you supplement it to get the best outcome of any situation. Someone once made the example that actually your brain evolved from a monkey, even though I don't believe in evolution. But let's just take it from there to say, at once you were a monkey, and all you had to do was to wake up and look for something to eat, to get sex and pleasure, and to survive, because you had to know what it takes to survive in the bush. So now that we are a human being, we are given a responsibility to accumulate wealth. Your instinctive brain or your animal brain still tells you that once you get food for today, you are fine. You will see tomorrow when it comes. That's why very few people are able to think about the future. People always think about the here and now. People always think about what to eat now. So people, if you want to see conversations that are having the most engagements in social media, they will be talking about sex, because that's what excites the mind. You start conversations about money, very few people will be interested in knowing what does it take to make money, what does it take to be successful in managing money. So shortly we will be talking about the biases of the brain. The first one is temporal discounting. So as I had already said, this one, temporal discounting, refers to the phenomenon in which the subjective value of some reward loses its magnitude when the given reward is delayed. So simply put, this means that a person values anything now than in the future. So we are more of here and now than we are thinking about the future. So the opposite of temporal discounting is delayed gratification. To be able to enjoy the pain now, to be able to enjoy or to delay the pleasure so that when you get it tomorrow, it's better than what it was today. That is why, generally, to most people, if we were to make a competition here and someone wins and we ask you, what would you prefer? 100,000 now and you go home, or we'll give you 200,000 in 5 years' time? Most people will take 100,000 now and go home, because it's not easy to sit knowing that there is money somewhere that belongs to you that you can spend, uh, because you are looking at what it can do for you tomorrow. All of us, we want we want to be satisfied right now, immediately. That is that is the kind of gratification, to say we need in gratification now. It doesn't have to be delayed. So most people are, it's really a problem. That's why investing to most people is a problem, because you get your salary, you want to spend it all now because it gives you what you want now, the gratification now. But if you have to save, you have to save for something that is to come in the future. That is why it is not easy for people to wait until you have accumulated enough money to go and buy a car. In actual fact, most Dubais, they go at something less than 100,000. You can save 100,000 in 2 years if you are earning a salary of about 20,000 a year, for example, 20,000 a month, I mean. So, but people would rather take 100,000 from the bank as a loan and pay it within 5 years with a lot of interest on top, because they want gratification now. They want to buy the car now than to wait until I can buy it on a later date. So that is what the banks are counting on, because they know that you will come running looking for loans. And when they give you a loan, they are making good money out of you for doing nothing. They just give you money now so that you satisfy your gratification, and then you have to pay back the money in 5 years' time. And if you look at the difference of the loan that you took out and the loan that and the money that you have to take back, sometimes it goes up to double, more especially if you take around 6 years to pay it back with an interest of around 18% or more. It goes up to double what you actually took. So that is a real challenge. So looking also into this, we are talking about to looking also into the biases. We want to say there are people who went to school 4 year degrees or 5 year degrees just to make sure that they can be able to take money out of your pocket without having to steal it from you. Those people are called the marketing departments. Those people, they know how how people behave with money, and that is just what they will give you so that they get your money out of you and you remain poor forever while they make more forever, and will forever be complaining about the difference between the poor and the rich, or the income gap between the poor and the rich. Because what then happens is, every time the poor make something out of their labor, they take it all away to the rich, because that's how they give them their money. And the gap keeps on increasing, because when you make money, you take all of it, you don't keep anything into the system of the rich. They make some, they pay those that are working for them. So they make more, but they release less into those that are working for them, and they take it back. And the cycle keeps going like that, and more they are accumulating more and more, while the poor are losing everything that they have. So the second point, or the second bias, is anchoring, or it is also called focalism. It is a cognitive bias where an individual depends too heavily on an initial piece of information offered or considered to be the anchor to make subsequent judgments during decision making. Once the value of this anchor is set, all future negotiations, arguments, estimates, etc. are assumed from this value. So this gives us what they use in terms of sales. They will tell you that this thing was costing 800, but now there is a 50% off sale, you'll get it for 400. And you feel like, oh my God, I'll be saving a whooping 400 from the thing. In actual fact, they are the ones who gave you the figure of 800 because they know that your mind, once they tell you that thing was 800, you feel like, no, I'm getting a bargain out of it. In actual fact, the value of the thing could have been the 400 initially. But stores do not shy away from marking something 800 for 2 weeks, for example, just to intrigue your mind. Then when they tell you it's 50% off, they mark it down to 400. And then you feel like, no, I'll be saving a lot. And you take everything and you buy it. In actual fact, you are not saving anything, you are losing your 400. You are not saving the 50% that you think you are saving. Because initially, it was never the thing, it was never, it was yours in the first place. So when anchoring occurs, we usually or even forget the opportunity cost because what they want to do in your brain is you start comparing the price of 800 and the price of 400, and your fixation is on that, which one is better between the two. Because now, or even if they give you two products, they mark one expensive, they mark the other one much more cheaper. And now you'll be comparing the two products between the expensive one and the cheaper one. What comes out of that is you no longer think of other things that could be of the same value, that could add value into your life. But now your mind is fixated on the two things. So now you have to make a decision between buying this one and this one, and you end up buying the cheaper one. In actual fact, all they are doing is they are tricking you because you're no longer comparing the sneakers against investing. You are comparing the sneakers against the original price, which was 800, the value that they gave you at first. So that's the reason why they will be writing big signs with red marked 50% off, 35% off. The reason is they want to intrigue you into buying because all they want is your money. And when they've got it, they are now set. So it's important to know that your mind, immediately you see a sale, you are not actually saving the percentage that they say you are saving. You are actually losing the money that you are giving to them because the money was yours in the first place. How do you save if the money is yours? So in short, that's what I want to say. So the third one, yes. The third one is probability estimation. We are talking about the biases of the human mind. The probability estimation is that every time the human brain is so poor when it comes to estimating probability. We tend to overestimate our chances of winning. Every time we tend to overestimate our chances of winning, and we actually discount our chances of losing every time. That is why the chances or the probability of winning the lotto in SA is something like 1 over 42,375,200. But people still play the lotto believing that they are the ones to win. Because what the mind tells you, I will win and the rest of the people will not win. So it's like you feel like you stand a better chance of winning. But actually the odds are so skewed against you. That just means the probability is you can win once after playing 42 million times 375,200. So you can calculate how much money you will be putting into the tickets before you get out the one jackpot. Almost you can even live a lifetime without having reached those kind of opportunities or the kind of number that is there. So what then happens is we discount by a big margin risk when it comes to losing. That is why most people will be like, no, don't worry, other people will get corona, not me. Even though we know that the statistics are very high and the way it's spreading is very fast. So many people we have seen, but then we feel like, not me, maybe the others. Some brethren even end up saying 10,000 will fall on the side, on the right, and others on the left, trying to justify their denial that they are also in danger of catching up with corona. But all they want to feel safe, that is, because your mind doesn't want to worry in actual fact, so that you feel like you are safe, so that you feel like there is something to look forward to, you will win. But in actual fact, the chances of winning are way slimmer, of winning a lot are way slimmer, but the chances of catching COVID-19 are way higher. So that is very important to grasp, that your mind is foolish, I can say. So you need to be able to what they call critical thinking, which is thinking about thinking while you are thinking, in order to improve your thinking. So critical thinking, what it does is you investigate your own thoughts. Why do I think like that? What could have led to that? Like, could it be a feeling? Could it be I'm biased towards a certain decision? So that we are able to find out, no, this is not the thing. In actual fact, I'm just in denial of the facts right here in front of me, because when it comes to thinking, emotions are more superior than thoughts. So every time what you feel is superior than what you know, because that is why people know very important things, but then they go against them. The people who know a lot about health, but they are not practicing it the right way, they'll be telling you to go to the gym, eat healthy, do not smoke, quit alcohol, but they are also drinking alcohol and smoking, because it's not about knowing, it's about how you feel, and the behavior that is of it. So your mind is very lazy in actual fact. So, the fourth one is default thinking. Default thinking is like to leave things as is. That's what happens. Your mind likes to leave things as is. Like, you don't want to change anything, you don't want to think, you don't want to overthink, so you just let things be. So what happens is, for healthcare workers, we know that some time back we had what we called a VCT, or voluntary counseling and testing for HIV and AIDS. People would come into the clinic and ask to be tested for HIV. But then the guidelines changed. What now they were saying is, once someone comes into the clinic, you tell them, okay, we are going to be testing for HIV. So what that means is, for the person not to be tested, they have to literally say, no, I don't want to be tested. But if you give them the honors to opt in, very few people were testing. Until then, it says, now if you don't want to test, you opt out. But people take what is already given. So before we were saying, no, we won't test you by force. But if you want to test, tell us. Now we are saying, we are going to test you. But if you don't want to test, tell us you don't want to test, so that we get you out. So which was the opt-in or opt-out method. People usually, they just agree with what is on the table. So most people, HIV testing numbers went significantly higher after the opt-out method, because people would just opt in, while previously people were not opting in. I hope we understand. So this is what they do. When you buy a package, they will give you a deal. Maybe, let me make an example of, when you go to Jet, you find that you want to open a credit card. There will be a package of funeral cover in there. There will be a package for Jet Club, magazines and stuff. In actual fact, you do have the option to opt out of that thing, but most people don't. Why? Because They just feel like, okay, the contract is fine as is, let's just sign and move on. They don't even want to negotiate or to think what's in it for me. In actual fact, people, so many people don't even know that they have a funeral cover with Jet. I've never heard of anyone going to claim, but I know so many people who have cards with Jet because they don't just think it's important to they don't just even go through the contract to see what's in it for them and what could they take out. So they just accept as is what the offer that is first given. So in that way, that means we are also paying around 26 rand. The last time I checked, it's been some time, 26 rand per month towards the membership, the club membership, the magazines that you don't even read. Some of them are just piling up in the post office, they don't even get to you, but you are paying money for it that you are losing. You are paying something for funeral cover that you are not even using. So if you are diligent to go through, you will know that that thing is not good for you. In actual fact, what then happens, most people is after they've made the decision, they don't rationalize their decisions, or they are not rational when they make choices, but then they rationalize their decisions or their choices after. You come to him, you ask him, so why did you choose the Jet Funeral Club? They will give you a very good reason. But in actual fact, when they are coming up with a choice, they never even bothered to think about it, what's in it for them. So I had already mentioned that when it comes to money, emotions are far superior than thoughts. So what you know is not enough to improve your financial institution. Your behavior is much better than what you already know. The reason is, let me make an example. When you get into a car dealership, most salesmen will persuade you to take a test drive, knowing very well that you don't afford the car. You have discussed all your finances and put them on the table, because they will know that you will get the feel of the car and you hear the sound coming out from the back and you feel like, no, I want this car, because it makes you feel great. And after that, you will be in big debt, knowing that you don't afford the car. They will be giving you options like the balloon payment. We talk about that one on another day, but today I want to talk about this one. So in actual fact, you find that you are actually locking yourself into very, very big debt for something that you don't need, because they made you feel like you need it, because that's their job and that's how they make money, to take money out of your pocket. So it's important to know what works and what doesn't work, and it's important to be able to to do your best to be able to make the best out of the money that you make. Because as I had alluded before, that the problem is not how much money you make, the problem is how you behave with your money. If all the money that you make, you also lose it all. Because to most people, I once asked someone how much money has gone through your account ever since you started making. You find that around 1 million, some millions of money have gone through their bank accounts since they started working. But what do you have that you can point off to say, this is what is of value to me, monetary wise? You find that it's something way less than 100,000. That means all the other money came in and went out, and you didn't do anything to it with it that makes that gives value to you. So it's important that we are able to retain some value for ourselves, because when we hear some rich people saying they are worth 399 billion, in actual fact, it doesn't mean that they have 399 billion in the bank. It means that they have assets that are worth 399 billion. So if they own a certain company, or they own a shares in a certain company that are worth a certain value, they count that as money. Even though it's a building, they count it as money when they calculate your net worth. So what gives you your value is not how much money you have in the bank. It's the things that you buy with the money that gives the value of what you have at that time. But if you buy things that depreciate or lose value over time, like cars, you will keep buying more and making nothing. If you buy food, it's even worse because the next day it's all gone. You are going to go to the toilet and your money is gone. You never make anything out of it. So you never grow really financially. You are all getting and pushing out on the other side. So the real difference between the rich people and the poor people is not in how much money they have in the bank. It's in their thinking pattern, how they think. Rich people think differently from poor people. A rich person might be generating less than a poor person who is making more, but they are losing all that they are making, while this one is retaining some of the money that he makes. So this one is growing, this one is not. So in short, that's what I'm trying to say. The difference is, for rich people, what they do is, in actual fact, we know that they drive the most expensive cars, they live in the most expensive houses, they have the greatest things that we can think of, the finest of what the world has got to offer. But what they did was they bought assets. Assets are things that make money for you. Those are the things that will make sure that you make money even when you are sleeping. And then when the assets started bringing in money, they start buying liabilities. The liabilities are the expensive cars, because they will know that even if they will crash the car, they are making more money when they are driving away. When we are driving, we are making nothing because you only make money during the 8 hours that you are at work. So you take all the money that you make at work, you put it in a car, the value of the car is depreciating. So in no time, you have nothing again. You have to buy another one when you finish the loan for that one. So you keep repeating the cycle, rinse and wash. Actually, when you finally die, you find that you never made an impact on earth, because the reason we are here is to do something out of our lives that will be greater than us, something that we can leave behind for generations to come, and they will also be able to see your contribution, to say this is what you did, even for your generation, to make a difference between. Because when you give to the poor, when you give to relieve in situations of disaster, that's making a difference in other people's lives. So what poor people do is, they want to look rich, but they don't want to go through the process of being rich. So what they do is, they take the little that they make and buy liabilities. What do liabilities do? They take money out of the pocket. So if you buy a car, you will need to service it. You will need to put fuel every day. And the bigger the car, it means the bigger the tank, and that means the bigger the engine, the bigger the consumption, which is the thing that we want in life, the finest ones in life, the ones that will make a lot of noise, the frupas. And those are the ones that are making us to lose more, while the rich, they are able to say, if they make an investment that makes them $5,000, for example, a month, and they have a car that costs them $5,000 to maintain a month, they know that those ones they square each other up. So they are not losing anything, because the investment is paying for the car. And bona, they are set with life. So you can continue to do something else on the other side. While the poor, they have to work hard. Sometimes you have to add a second job to make sure that you are able to afford the good things in life. Sometimes the third job, what you are actually losing there is the time, because rich people buy time, while poor people sell time. In actual fact, the reason in our workplaces we are so specific, there is no measure of how much work you did for the day, but there is a measure to say you worked for 8 hours, because what they are buying from you, your employer buys your time from you. Because we all have the same 24 hours, but those who are serious about life, they buy other people's time so that they make more money and they do more things within their time, so that they are not limited to 24 hours. They have more hours per day according to how many people. Those who are lazy and don't have anything to do, they give them something to do so that they take their time, because they are wasting it. So at the end of life, at the end of it all, you will find that you never did anything other than helping someone else achieve their dream, and your dreams never came true. I'm not saying working is not good. I'm saying the poverty mentality is not good, because there are people who are working in rich. That's very possible. If you want to know, we can talk about it later. So I just want to share some principles from the Bible because I'm a kingdom person, so I cannot share anything other than what I am and what I believe in. And the Bible is one of, someone once said, it's the oldest book that exists, but it is more relevant than tomorrow's newspaper, even in our generation. So it gives the things that are the foundation of life. It gives the things that when you are able to use them, you will get far in life. So in Proverbs chapter 24, verse 27, it reads thus in the easy to read version. First, get your fields ready. Next, plant your crops. Then build your house. So what we are actually getting here is, because from the economics of this time, the economic activity was being able to plant, harvest, and to have more. So this was the way. This was the economy of that time. So that's why the writer now says the first thing that we have to do is to be able to go out into the fields, prepare them, plant your crops, then you can come back and build a house. Why? Because when you plant something, you can leave it to grow and come back and work on your house. Why? So some other days you go and check how your crops are doing while they grow up. And you know that you will plant only a 10 kg bag of maize in a whole field and make so many other bags of maize when you harvest. But if you start by building your house, that means that you took all what you have and put it in your house, and your house is not making anything out of it because your house will not grow, unlike the maize in the field. That's why it's important to start with what to do, to start with an investment that will make money. Then the money that comes in will build you a house. So the principles of the kingdom are straightforward, and they are so good, but most people, even brethren, they don't follow them because everyone in their minds, they want to look rich, but they don't really want to be rich. And they don't want to pay the price of being rich, because if you have to be rich, you have to pay a price. The price is you have to enjoy the first time while the crops are growing. Before you go for harvest, you have to be going there to look after your harvest, to protect your harvest, and until they start giving the harvest, then you become the rich man. Those who are building houses, you will build faster than them because now you are having more of what you can sell and make more. So the thing about what we want is to have a home, be secluded. It's because most of us are so fixated on security, or being able to have something that we can call home, something that when we sit down, we know that there is a comfort that from here I will go home. We call it security. Even people who are scared of going into business because there is much more risk in business, they feel like it's better to work because working, you almost have the certainty that at the end of the month you will make your salary. But in business, 1 month we are making a loss, 1 month we are making a small profit, 1 month we are making huge profits, 1 month you are down. So it's not something that's straightforward. The risk is higher in business. So most people do not like risk. That is the problem. So God does not decide to give others riches and others to be poor. But when you read the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 9:11, he says, that the writer here is Solomon, the wisest man to have lived on earth. He wrote this way: I saw something else under the sun. The race is not for the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learner, but time and chance happen to them all. So I want to say everyone in this journey of life gets an opportunity to make something of what they have. But then it's all about how you use it. It depends on how one person uses the opportunity when it gets to them. So that will determine how far you will go, because if you get an opportunity, you waste it, then you are going nowhere. But if you get an opportunity and you use it, then you go far. So we had already talked about there are two kinds of people that exist in the world, not just the rich and the poor, but the kind of people according to their behaviors. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 10, it says, "For as sure as rain and snow come down from heaven and do not return there, but water the earth, making it bring forth and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater." So I'm specifically interested on the last part of it that divides two kind of people. That when God brings down rain or blessings, he gives it down to two kinds of people. There are people who are sowers, there are people who are eaters. It's like God, what he gives you is a 5 kg bag of maize to say, here is yours, here is yours. The other one decides to eat the 5 kg bag of maize. The other one decides to take the 5 kg bag of maize and go to the field to plant it or to sow it so that they can make more. Because now you can calculate that out of every grain of maize that was in there, you are making a cob of maize when you harvest. But this one who couldn't delay the gratification took everything and ate at that moment in time, then started waiting for another bag of maize so that they can also eat. So what I'm trying to say is there are two kinds of people. Being an eater doesn't mean that you don't sow, but it means that it's what you habitually do. Being a sower again doesn't mean that you don't eat, but it means of what you habitually do. So if you are an eater, you are just concerned about today, but if you are a sower, you are concerned about the future. So God has given us, all of us, the rain, but it depends on what kind of person you are. Are you an eater, or are you a sower? So there is also the story of Esau and Jacob in the book of Genesis, as we are coming to an end. In the book of Genesis, chapter 27, most of us know the story that Isaac, their father, when he was old, he sent a word. He sent for Esau to come as the elder brother, because they were twins, but the elder one was Esau. He sent for a word for Esau to come to him and say, "My son, please go hunt for me some game, bring me some meat so that I can eat before I die, then I will bless you." So Esau was a hunter, while his brother Jacob was a farmer. So Esau, after hearing that, he took his hunting equipment, went out into the field to look for something for his father. But this one, Jacob, was in the house. Apparently, their mother heard the conversation between Esau and the father, and he went to the favorite son, who was Jacob, and said, "Quickly, your father wants something to eat." So Isaac couldn't see clearly by then, so his sight was poor. So what they did is they took out a lamb from the kraal, prepared it fast, and brought it to their father. We know the rest of the details, I won't go into them. But then the blessing was given to Jacob instead of Esau, because he was still out in the field looking for something to kill so that he can bring to his father. So these are the two kinds of people. A hunter is someone who wants something, goes into the forest, shoots one, comes back with it. They eat for today, and that's enough. So we'll again go back to hunt for something tomorrow. So if you save at all, you only make you only make umcweba for that day or for a week if it lasts that long. But then in the near future, you'll need to go back to the forest again to get something else. But the farmer, what they do is they take one sheep, tend it, and make sure that it grows until it reaches a stage where it reproduces other sheep, and they end up having a whole kraal, such that every time they want meat, they could just go to the kraal and get meat there and eat and be jolly. So what happens here is, if you are a hunter, a hunter keeps stocks of what they have. They know how many sheep they have, or I mean a farm. But a hunter doesn't keep stock, because they only go into the bush to look at what God has put there, in such a way that if they don't catch anything for that day, that means they will sleep having not eaten anything. In actual fact, this happened after Esau sold his birthright of being the firstborn to Jacob, because he went into the bush one day looking for game, and he came back with nothing. And when he came back, he was very hungry. Because of hunger, he ended up selling for a dish, for a meal. He sold his birthright to be the firstborn. And he was even saying, what will it help me? You know, people who are hunters, they are not futuristic. What value does it give me to be the firstborn if I die today? The person wouldn't have died in one day of hunger, because people can fast 30 days without, can go 30 days without eating and they still live. But he was hungry just for one day, and he sold an eternal right to be the firstborn. Up until today, we are sons of Jacob in lineage, because Esau sold it to Jacob because of hunger for one day. So that means, if you are a hunter in life, you have to go out each and every day to hustle for something. Come back, we eat it, we go to bed. The following morning, we have to go out again to hustle for something. Come back, we eat, we go to bed. If there is one rainy day, you don't catch anything, we won't have anything to eat. And what that means also is that you won't be a person of values, because you cannot, when you are hungry, you can accept any offer someone has to give you, because it was Jacob who first suggested that, okay, no problem, I can give you something to eat, but just give me your birthright to be the firstborn. And he was like, oh, you can take it. What will I do with it if I die of hunger? And he actually took it. So what I'm trying to say is, if you are a hunter with money, you go out to work, you get something at the end of the month, you eat it all, you wait for the next month. You work, you get it, you use it all, you wait for the following month. But if you are a farmer, you go to work, you get something, you keep it, you invest it somewhere, you save it, you invest it somewhere, you let it grow until it then starts giving what is called compound interest, the interest of interest. If it was still the sheep, as we made an example there, the lamb, you can get a lamb, grow it. When it's grown, then it starts reproducing. Then the kids of the or the lambs of the lambs will start being the compounding interest. You don't have to do anything now. The animals are growing on their own, and they are further reproducing more. So you don't want to be you don't want to be a hunter. It's better to be a farmer, because hunters also lose opportunities. Someone will come here with a bargain to say, hey, I'm in need of agent money, and I'm selling my car, for example, the car that you wanted. But then you start running to the bank looking for a loan where they tell you you don't qualify, you already have too much package with loans. You try select, you try that one. But someone who has savings will just withdraw their savings and pay and get the car. By the time you come back after running the whole country, you have found the loan, the car is gone. So that's not good for you, because what you need really is to have your money somewhere kept safe, but you can always have access to it. You can always make the most of what you have. So in short, that's what I wanted to say today. There are two kinds of people. First, it was a matter of our brains. We have to be able to know the weaknesses or the biases of our brains, so that we can be able to supplement them where they come short. Because when we make decisions, financial decisions, we have to be able to, 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 to supplement our thinking in such a way that we think at the best level that we can, to make sure that what we have in our hands, we make the most out of it, that we can make it keep growing and make more and more each and every day. So it's not a straightforward financial topic, but it's the basis of any finances, because how you behave with money determines how money treats you. You cannot be someone who spends all the money you have and still have more. Once you spend it, it's gone. But then there is a statement in one book I once read called The Richest Man in Babylon. It says, and actually it's a conversation between one old man who was very wise and one young man who came to him to ask for advice, because he was seeing that he was prospering in life and he was making good progress. Then he asked himself, so first thing he asked him, so out of what you make, what is yours? He started counting. No, all the money that I make is mine. But he said, no, part of the money that you make is for the shoemaker or the one who makes the sandals, because you don't take the money there to buy the sandals. Part of the money that you make in today's terms is for EEC, because we have to pay electricity bills. For EWSC, you have to pay for water, you have to pay for the rent to the landlord that we are staying in. So all that part of the money is not yours. Make sure that after you have spent everything, some money is kept that belongs to you. And the only money that is to you is money that never leaves. It's either you save it up in an account that it belongs to you, then you invest it so that it then grows, then you have more financially. So today we'll end here. Next time we'll talk about um, the banking systems, including debts and other things. So, but for today, we will come to an end. So, thank you very much for your time and your pleasure. I don't think we can take any questions since we are very few, any discussions. Um, this will be the end, but then we can do discussions afterwards. Thank you.